All right. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is Friday, November the 4th, 2022. And I hope hope you've had a beautiful week and that you're having a beautiful day and a nice Shabbat, a restful Shabbat. Let me say hello to everybody. Hi to my mom. I love you, Mama. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom to Lori and Pat and to Eileen and good evening. Shabbat Shalom to Joshua, to Jerry and Janet, to Ron and Amy. Hope you guys are doing well. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom to Kathleen and to Kelly Kenfield and to Kelly and Melody Woods and to Barbara Callahan and Richard and Ellen and Pastor and Sister Martinez. And Shabbat Shalom to the Eddies, to Lauren and Mike and David and Levi and Valor and Haven and Everett. And Everett, we are praying for you, buddy. If everyone could just be praying for Everett Eddy. Everett's 4, and he was taken to the emergency room last night with breathing issues, and he's in the middle. He's was diagnosed with RSV, and so he's now, I think, on day 4 or day 3 or 4 of 5, and so hopefully he's through the worst of it. He was able to go home today, and just pray for him and for his mama, for his family, and that the Lord will just strengthen him and touch him. But we are praying for you guys. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom to Pastor and Sister Martinez. Hello. Good evening to Dayspring and to Rachel, to Sonia Takach, and to Sonia and Margarita, to Misty and Eileen, and hope you guys are all doing well. Shabbat Shalom to Marcia. It's good to have you with us, Marcia. And let me see if there's anybody else that I'm missing here. All right. Well, just a quick update. We're gonna look today at some Psalms 94, 124, and Psalm 4. And I've entitled today's Daily Manna, "The True Rest Coming from True Trust." And then in parentheses, I've added on true trust in the only true help. If you could continue again praying for Everett. Also, please pray for Jerry and Janet's son. His name's Jerry, in Denver. Jerry had he had a fall. There's a lot of bleeding, a lot of stitches in his head, and they're checking his hip for a fracture. So please be praying for Jerry. And if you could be praying for us, for our family. It's been, there's a sort of when it rains, it pours kind of thing. And so, my mother's been in the hospital for several weeks, and then now she's in a rehab facility, but I'm dealing with, insurance companies and that kind of thing, where now they're saying, well, they're discharging her, and I don't think she's ready. So appealing that kind of thing, and wanting to get her into a place where she can get the kind of care that she needs. And at the same time, my wife's parents are my father-in-law is dealing with some significant health issues, that if you could just be praying for him, and then my mother-in-law fell last week, and now she has several fractures in her back, in her vertebrae, so she's in enormous pain. And so we actually were going to be seeing them. We were going to make a quick visit and we were going to see them a couple of weeks ago when everything happened with my mother. And now we're scheduled to go visit them, to see them. We're heading out there this Sunday. And now I'm still dealing with the stuff with my mom and the hospital here. It's a lot. It just feels like a lot. But while we're in Missouri, I'm going to do Daily Manna from there. I'm going to be doing it by myself. So Antonio's given me I've got all the steps, the instructions of what to do. So we will continue to have Daily Manna while I'm there, but I just wanted to let you know in advance what was coming, and to ask you to please pray. Look, I know the Lord is He is at work. He has been preparing us for this time, for this season. He knew all of this would be happening long before I could have ever known. And so it's in these moments that, look, I get I get overwhelmed. Sometimes it's just there's so many decisions I'm having to make that I I can't get them in order. It just becomes almost paralyzing at those moments, and I just feel out of my depth, and overwhelmed. And so, but the Lord is faithful, and I am out of my depth. I think we were playing Oceans prior to, and I need to walk on the water because I'm out of my depth, and I need the Lord's strength and to rest in Him and to trust in Him. And we all do in these moments, right, when we face these different things. Let's look at Psalm 94 today. Psalm 94 says, God of vengeance, Adonai, God of vengeance, shine forth. So the psalmist is opening up, basically wanting God to deal with, he's praying in many ways the same prayer that those that you read about in Revelation, those that have been martyred, you will say, Lord, when will you vindicate our blood? When will you bring justice, really? And so this is saying, Lord, shine forth. Let your light shine forth. Come into this darkness. Come into a world where there's so much corruption, so much that's twisted up. And Lord, would you come in? I need you to come and straighten it out, is the idea. So he says in verse 2, rise up, O judge of the earth, O governor of the earth, justice of the earth, the supreme justice, and pay back to the proud what they deserve. Right? It return compensation to the exalted. Give them the paycheck, the wages that they've earned. How long will the wicked, Adonai, how long will the wicked gloat? They gush out, like they bubble forth arrogant. They speak arrogance. All the evildoers keep boasting it. So the psalmist is having this experience that's in the immediate, looks like wickedness is winning. That this looks like it works. That the proud, the boastful, the wicked, they are seemingly succeeding. So he's saying, God of vengeance, like I've trusted in you, would you shine forth? And they're just gushing out arrogance. They keep boasting. Verse 5, they crush your people, Adonai, and afflict your heritage. The language here for afflict is much more graphic. They violate, but it's in a way that is much more graphic of violating your heritage. So Lord, how can you they're treating your people this way? It says they slay the widow and the outsider and murder the fatherless. Right? So Lord, this is your domain. These are yours. The widow, the outsider, the fatherless, they're the ones that look to you for protection. Where, how long is this going to go on? Rise up, O God of vengeance, come. That's what he's calling it. And the thing is, they say, because they think they're getting away with it, verse 7, he says, so they say, Adonai doesn't see. The God of Jacob pays no attention. Right? So this is this idea that, well, if God is good and God is just and God is loving, why does he allow the wickedness to go on in the world? And in the immediate, in the immediate of the moment, it can feel like that bears some resemblance to logic, but it doesn't factor into the reality that the Lord is not controlling and the Lord is slow to anger. And so that in this, he is the protector of the fatherless. He is the one who will vindicate the fatherless and the widow and the orphan, and the outsider. And yet we say, how long? Like, it doesn't go as fast as we want it to. But if the Lord brought the judgment the moment it was deserved, or even immediately after it deserved, which of us would live? For all have sinned, right? We're all guilty. Justice would demand that we all, at different points, would be deserving of judgment. And so in in his slow to angerness, it can seem like, where are you, Lord? So they're saying God's not paying attention. So then the psalmist then turns and says to them, basically, you think he's not paying attention, but you'd better pay attention. Verse 8, pay attention, senseless ones among the people, stupid among the people. It's like, understand it, get it. Fools, when will you comprehend? He who planted the ear, does he not hear? He who formed the eye, does he not see? Right? The ear maker hears. Like, he came up with this whole thing. The one who invented sight, you think he doesn't see? He who chastens nations, will he not rebuke? One who teaches humanity knowledge. Adonai, like, he teaches us knowledge, but in verse 11 it says, Adonai knows human thoughts. They are but a breath, right? So he has real knowledge. He sees, he hears, he knows, he rebukes. And it feels like, well, how long? But you have to wait on him and trust in him and trust in who he is. It says, blessed is the one you discipline, Adonai, and teach him from your instruction, to give him rest, to give him peace, tranquility, to give him rest from days of trouble, from days of calamity, until a pit is dug for the wicked. For Adonai will not forsake his people. He will never abandon his inheritance. For rightness will be restored to justice, and all the upright in heart will follow it. Verse 16, who will rise up for me against the wicked? Who will stand up for me against evildoers? Unless Adonai had been my help, my soul would soon have dwelt in the abode of silence. If the Lord hadn't been my Ezer, my helper, my support, having hold me up, I would have also dwelt in the stillness of death, basically. If I say my foot has slipped, your chesed, your mercy, your love, Adonai, will hold me up. Your love sustains me. When my foot slips, I don't hit the ground because it's your love that holds me up. Verse 19, when my troubling thoughts multiply within me, right? In the abundance of my anxieties in my inner being, he says, in the growing abundance of anxieties, when that's happening, your consolations, your mercies, your womb love, as it were, that tender, the maternal love of the Lord, that womb love, that mercy, your consolations, comfort my soul. Can a throne of corruption be aligned with you, be united with you, planning distress by decree? So the psalmist here is trying to figure out, when he looks and sees what's happening in the powers that seem to rule in this world, this can't possibly be in line with you, Lord, right? This throne of corruption, how can this be in union with you? Like, your laws bring freedom. They are planning, their decrees are planning distress, are shaping and the language for distress here is labor, toil, right? The Lord brings rest and freedom, and the throne of corruption brings plans, decrees of distress, of labor and toil. They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn innocent blood. But Adonai has been my fortress, and my God, the rock of my refuge. He will repay them for their wickedness and will annihilate them in their evil. And it says, and in their evil, it will silence them, or he will silence them. Adonai, our God, will silence them, is what it says. It uses the translation here, annihilate, will silence them. Those who persist, there comes a point, he's slow to anger, but those who persist in bringing distress, those who persist in corruption, those who persist in this, there comes a point where the God of vengeance, the God that he is coming, the King is coming to make all things right. But between now and then, he gives us an opportunity to turn to him, to call on him, and to pray for those who persecute us because they need him, to pray for those who are driven by corruption because they need him. Would they call upon him since he is so slow to anger? But if they persist in that, the judge of all the world of the universe will bring justice to the universe. Psalm 124 is a psalm of David that opens up saying, had Adonai not been on our side, let Israel now say, verse 2, had Adonai not been on our side when men rose up against us, then they would have swallowed us alive. When their wrath burned against us, the waters would have engulfed us. The torrent would have swept over our soul. Then the raging waters would have swept over our soul. Like if the Lord hadn't been on our side, when they came against us, if it had just been me, it would have absolutely washed me away, swallowed us alive. There's nothing we could have done. It would have swept over our being. Blessed be Adonai, verse 6, who has not given us as prey for their teeth. Our soul has escaped like a bird out of the snare of the trappers. The snare is broken, and we, it says, va'anachnu, and we ourselves escaped. We were delivered, right? So that was fortunate, right? Fortunate that I was in the snare, but the snare shattered. It didn't just randomly shatter, right? Here it says, our soul escaped like a little bird. Well, my little bird leg didn't break that free on its own. My bird leg had nothing to do with it. The snare is broken, and we have escaped. We're free, right? Why are we free? Verse 8, our help, our ezer, is in the name of Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. We don't fix our eyes on the powers of this world. We don't fix our eyes on the wicked of this world. Our hope is not in them being kind to us. Our hope is in the Lord. Our rest is in him, truly trusting in him, truly waiting on him, knowing that he is our only true help. Psalm 4 is also a psalm of David. And so it brings us sort of from the reason I went with Psalm 4 last today is you kind of get these general sort of overarching Psalms 94, 124, had the Lord not been on our side. Psalm 4 brings us then from that big kind of overarching general conflict that we deal with down to the very personal, down to that the individual's experience, my experience, your experience in those moments when anxiety's overwhelmed, when stress is overwhelming. And David prays here in Psalm 4, he says, verse 2, answer me when I call, God of my righteousness. You set me free. Like you make a wide open space for me when I am in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. Verse 3, O sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? Right? So now the Lord here is speaking. And says, children of men, sons of men, like I have given you glory, and how long will you turn that into humiliation, into shame? How long will you love worthlessness or emptiness? Something, the image here is something poured out, like an empty cup. How long will you run after that which is empty and pursue falsehood? You have that picture that we see in Jeremiah 2:13 where the Lord says, my people have committed two evils, right? They have forsaken me, the fountain of life, the fountain of living water. They have forsaken me, and then they have dug for themselves cisterns. They've dug for themselves cracked cisterns that can hold no water. So they have forsaken me, who is the wellspring, the source of all that they need. Said, no, I'll do it on my own. And they've chosen emptiness. They've chosen empty, cracked cisterns that they developed instead of having this overflow that only he can provide. That's the imagery here you have here. How long are you going to do that? You're going to turn my glory into shame. You're going to love emptiness. You're going to love worthlessness. You're going to pursue a lie. How long are you going to do this? Verse 4, he says, but know that Adonai has set apart the godly for his own. And I want to reiterate here, when you read the word translated godly in the Hebrew scriptures, the word is chasid, right? So a lot of people think of a chasid like a Hasidic Jew, someone who's very godly, the Hasidim, they, have the payas and wear all the black and daven when they pray. A chasid is from the word chesed, which doesn't have to do with, it's not rooted in my godliness as much as it's rooted in my having been loved by him, right? I'm a loved one. A chassid is a one of his chesed, one of his loved ones, one of those that are of his love and covenant loyalty. Sometimes we read the godly, and it carries with it a sense of, if you're like, I'm very godly, right? Carries with it this sense of like self-righteousness, like something I did. I'm godly. He keeps the godly for his own. But I'm loved is what it says. I'm loved with a love that is defining of who he is. God is love. He's overflowing in chesed. And you who are born of his chesed, of his godly ones, his chesed ones, his chesedim, know this, that Adonai has set apart the chassid for his own, to himself, it says. Adonai will hear when I call to him. I know that. He will hear when I call to him. Right? So the sons, you look around in the world, and the sons of men are exchanging glory for shame, right? They're loving emptiness in pursuit of a mirage, in pursuit of a deception. We were created to be in his likeness, to reflect his glory. Right? And instead, we were made to be chips off the old block. But instead of looking like him, we turn that glory into shame by loving emptiness, pursuing deception when he is the truth. Right? In our dealings in life, we're surrounded by other sons of men who are turning God's glory into shame, right? The me-firstness of humanity. And as that sinfulness, that selfishness engages us at every turn, what do? When people are, when decisions are made, like, just practically, when a decision is made, hey, Cosmo, your mom has to leave now. A decision made in based on profit and finance rather than on her well-being. What do I do in that moment? How do I react to that? Do we fight fire with fire, selfishness with selfishness? What do we do? Do I allow myself, which is my tendency? My natural tendency is to jump off at anxiety. To be like, I am anxious, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I'm out of my depth. But the real rest comes from this, know this, that the Lord sees those who are in covenant with him, those of his chesed, who have submitted to his way. So instead of engaging with the sons of Adam in destructive patterns, call to the Lord. We're reminded that we're his, and the Lord delivers us when we're squeezed. But not always, the deliverance doesn't always happen in our timing. It doesn't happen as quickly as we'd like it to. We have these moments where we can choose anxiety or we can choose trust. And he sometimes he allows it to last for a bit so that to give us an opportunity to choose trust in the moment when our tendency would be to choose anxiety. This is the opportunity to know that he is faithful, right? That he will hear. He will shema when I call. Sometimes, though, he hears, right, in the waiting, in the moment, the sons of men seem victorious. And when that happens, when I'm like, oh, in my flesh, I start to tremble, whether it's trembling in rage and anger or in anxiety, what do I do then? Verse 5 says this, tremble. Okay. Tremble, Whatever, and tremble there can be shake, thunder. It can be in this experience of that either expresses fear or rage or excitement. But tremble, whether it's anxiety, whether it's anger, but don't sin. Search your heart while on your bed and be silent. Selah. In your anger, in your anxiety, in your tremblings, in your fear, don't sin. Right? Human anger does not produce the righteousness of God, the scripture says. Our anger doesn't produce the righteousness of God. And our anxieties, he says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And what will happen, the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Messiah Yeshua. Do not be anxious. Tremble, but don't sin with rage or sin with a lack of trust. Search your heart. Why? Why do I have this anxiety, Lord? Why do I have this rage? Lord, search me, know me. Is my rage because I was affected in a way that inconvenienced me and I'm just blinded by my own selfishness? Search me, Lord, show me me. Or am I filled with anxiety because I don't trust you the way I should? Search me, Lord, know me, and stay quiet. Again, this is the passage that Paul quotes in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and 27, where he says, be angry, yet do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger, nor give the devil a foothold. Right? So we tend to think of it in terms of, we're going to work this out. We're going to fight till the bleary-eyed at 3 a.m, 4 a.m, until you understand me. And that be angry, tremble, and do not sin is not about making that person understand, but it's about saying, Lord, search me. Deal with what's going on inside of me. Deal with my heart. Tremble, but do not sin. Search your heart while on your bed. Search my heart, Lord. And be silent. Verse 6, offer righteous sacrifices and put your confidence, your trust in Adonai. Right? Psalm 51:19, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. Psalm 50, verse 23, a sacrifice of praise honors me, and to the one who orders his way, I will show the salvation of God. Right? Jeremiah 7, thus says Adonai, Tsevaot, the God of Israel, add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices and eat the meat. For on the day that I brought your fathers out of the land of Egypt, I didn't speak to them, nor did I command them concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. But I explicitly commanded them, obey my voice, Shema, and I will be your God to you, and you will be my people. Walk in all the ways that I command you, that it may go well with you. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Listen to me, Shema, Shema, follow my ways. It wasn't about all these sacrifices. Offer to him, verse 6, righteous sacrifices and trust in the Lord. Like, it's not a peripheral thing. It's not a secondary thing. So when I search my heart on my bed and I realize that I'm overwhelmed with anxiety, that reveals, it displays that I fail to trust him. Then, Lord, teach me to trust you. Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Lord, I trust you. I hold on to what you say. I know that you've got it when I can't see it. Hang on to him. Call on him. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Messiah Yeshua. Verse 7 of Psalm 4 says, many are asking, who will show us some good? May the light of your face shine upon us, Adonai. If I'm looking around going, who's going to show me some good? Somebody going to show me some good? Good luck. I'm not going to find it there. Many are asking, who's going to show us some good? Here's where you look. May the light of your face shine upon us, Adonai. I want to make you smile. I want you to beam on me. I want you to see trust in me. I want you to see me lay down my rights, lay down my anger, lay down my flesh, my convenience, my whatever, and trust in you and walk in that true trust. It says, you have put joy in my heart, more than joy when their grain and the new wine overflow. Like, this joy is beyond material success. This isn't joy like you hit the lottery or like you got a bonus or that, when you're like, there's plenty of money in the bank. This is something different. You've put a different joy in my heart, more than when their grain and new wine overflow. And so, verse 9, I will lie down and sleep in shalom. Why? Ki ata, for you alone, Adonai, for you yourself, because you, Adonai, make me live securely. This word for securely is the word for trust, for faith, for confidence, bateach. You cause me to live in confidence, in trust, right? It says in shalom, I'm not gonna just lie down and sleep, right? I'm gonna lay down, and together with shalom, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep in peace. Rather than laying down and being filled with anger or anxiety, rather than laying down and my brain is rolling over all that I can't control, over all the offenses that have hit me. Oh, I should have said this, or I should have said that, or rather than that, I will lie down and sleep in shalom. Because my security is in you, because my only real rest is in real trust, in your real help. Only you are my help, Lord. If the Lord hadn't been on our side, we would have been swallowed up. Our help is in the name of the Lord, right? It's true rest from true trust in the one who brings the only true help that we can depend on. So trust in him, amen? Shabbat shalom. Let me see if anybody else has joined us this evening. Good evening. Praise the Lord, Jerry and Janet. Your son's hip is not broken. That's great news. I'm sorry for his pain, though. That's rough. But I'm thankful that it is not broken. Good evening. I think I've said hello to everybody here. And let me glance over here. Say hello to Misty. All right. I think that's it. All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Don't be anxious about anything. May the light of his face shine upon us. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great evening.